I'm here with Justin Chandler of the Telluride Ski and Snowboard Club. How are you doing today, Justin?
Good, how are you?
Great. So how long have you been in Telluride?
Almost 20 years.
And where did you come from?
I grew up in New Hampshire and then went to the University of Colorado and then came here directly after graduating.
And did you come here for the job? What brought you down to Telluride?
I did. I came here to be a ski coach, and I started with first graders and then middle school kids and then high school kids, and then eventually I ran the Alpine program and then took over as the executive director.
And how did you get into ski coaching?
Being a ski racer, first and foremost, growing up in New England, I did a lot of ski racing and did that, through high school and as a postgraduate and raced and trained in Europe and competed in NORAMs and Europa Cups and
Wow.
And then my biggest role models were my coaches. So even as a little kid, I always wanted to be a coach.
So you always knew you wanted to be a ski coach?
I did. So I have my dream job.
So how long have you been with the Telluride Ski and Snowboard Club?
It's been over 20 years total, but I did take some time. I worked for some equipment companies. I worked for Vocal Skis and Technica ski boots, marker bindings, Brico goggles, and helmets as essentially a race technician and athlete manager, and then came back. So I did have a little break in the real world and then decided to come back.
Where did you move for those jobs? Were you traveling all over?
I was in New England, California, back to New England, and then decided to come back and work with kids.
Tell me a little bit about Telluride Ski and Snowboard Club.
We're, first and foremost, we're a grassroots community organization that's a support system for kids, families, and the schools here. That's what we're here for, just to provide access to anyone who has a strong desire to be in the club. And the biggest thing we do is we want kids in the club regardless of their family's financial situation. So we do offer scholarships, financial assistance. Most of the clubs in the country have the best athletes that can afford to do it. We want to have the best athletes, whether they can afford to do it or not.
Yeah.
Is the biggest difference. And now we've expanded into 8 different disciplines, starting from ski racing and mogul skiing to ski racing, mogul skiing, snowboarding, and now park, slopestyle, big mountain, all mountain, telemark, Nordic skiing, and figure skating.
And what age can kids start at?
First grade.
First grade all the way up through high school?
Through high school and beyond. We've had some postgraduates as well. Yeah.
Do a lot of those kids evolve into coaches later on? Or?
They do. A lot of ex-athletes are coaching in the club right now.
That's great.
Yeah. And we need them. We have a staff of 67 coaches right now.
That's big.
Over 400 kids.
And how does it line up with the school at all?
It does. We provide weekend training, but to extend their weekend training, they can train midweek as well through the school release program.
Okay.
So if kids want to learn to ski and hone their skills, they can go with ski school. Or if they want to continue their training with us, they could come with us midweek as well.
That's great. And speaking of kids that you've got, there's 3 Olympians coming from Telluride this year.
Yeah, it's extremely unique to have one, and then to have 3 is incredible. There's hundreds of clubs across the country that have never had any. Yeah. And then to have 3 and in the same Olympic year, it's extremely unique for a town this size.
Are they all around the same age range?
Yeah, it's that I consider it the next generation. We've had World Cup athletes before and national team members that are pushing mid-30s to 40, even mid-40s now, and this is the next group. None of them were in the Olympics, though, so this next generation really took it to the next level.
So who are our 3 Olympians?
Keaton McCargo,
and she's doing
freestyle, specifically moguls. Hagen Carney is snowboard, but specifically snowboard cross, which is crazy. It's like NASCAR on a snowboard. And Keaton's event it's high flying, in
Scary
a mogul.
It's
unbelievable, and Gus Kenworthy in slopestyle, and then hopefully maybe some half pipe too. We'll see. I think he's the first alternate.
So that's like a good little mix too.
It's incredible. I love the diversification. A lot of clubs will focus on one thing or the other. They'll have some ski racers on the national team or some mogul skiers, or they have a great snowboard program. It's really unique that we're across all our disciplines.
Yeah, 8 different disciplines. Is it easy getting coaches? How do you go about that?
We have a great resources here in Telluride that are good skiers, have backgrounds with our club or other clubs that we can train, which is our first go-to. And then when we're still short, we do recruit from all over the country and try and bring them in.
And do they
here.
come in seasonally?
A lot of them, they say that, and then they just end up being here.
Then they just make the move.
Because spring, summer, fall in the Southwest is just as good as the winter time. So usually we keep them.
I guess that's kind of, you can relate to that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And we also have, we've started to provide housing for coaches as well, which is pretty unique. Through some donors and some deals and negotiations, we have housing to bring some coaches in as well.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Justin. We
thanks
appreciate
for having
it.
me. Thanks.